Guys, how you doing? This will be my journal number 3, and I am just coming off of my lesson where I did the self-evaluation. So I'll be talking a little bit about that. I'll be talking a little bit about what I'm still frustrated about and kind of what's going a little bit better. I do feel like it's getting better each week. Um, so yeah, just jump right into it. So I did my first lesson today, and overall it went pretty well, I gotta say. I went over I guess I did a worksheet, but I worked through a worksheet on a smartboard. That's kind of how my teacher teaches. I was talking with Dr. Young about this before. She's really mimetic, and she really tends to stand up in front of the class and just lecture. And she uses the smartboard and to kind of guide those mimetic lectures that she does. And since I'm working with her, I can't really just say, "Hey, I want to do something different. Is that okay?" While I might do that for one of the other ones, at least this first one, I was kind of just going to go with what she did. So how it went for me was I got in first thing in the morning. I watched her first period class and I watched her whole lesson. I helped out a little bit, did some passing out and stuff like that. But during the second period, I actually took over the lesson for about 25 minutes, maybe 20. And like I said, we were working through a worksheet. They had just completed a quiz, and they picked up a worksheet from the front desk, and they were working on solving equations. They had been doing these things called undoing tables, which I've never seen before, but it's kind of an outline on how to solve equations. But now they were working on balancing, which is the way that probably we all know how to do, where you do one thing to one side of the equal sign and you do the same thing to the other. You get x on one side and you get all the numbers on the other side. So that's what I taught today. Um, and like I said, overall it went really well. I feel like my body language and my voice volume, my tone were all really good. She had nothing bad to say about that. I think so. I did it twice. I did the same thing twice. The first time, she told me that I went a little too quick. Apparently she didn't tell me any of this before. She just threw me into it, and so I just had to do my best. But she told me that she had in mind that a few of these problems she wanted to take a little bit more time on. And I was kind of going with the feedback from the students, and they seemed like they were doing fine. So I didn't go too fast, but on the ones that she wanted to take more time on, I didn't stress those ones enough, is what she said. So um, I kept that in mind. I went a second time, the next class, same stuff, and I felt a lot better. I did take the time on the ones that she wanted me to take the time on. I asked the questions that she wanted me to ask as far as the checks for understanding that she really wanted to stress. So I made sure to do that. For example, one of them was when the students divide by a negative number, so say they have negative 3x equals 12. Well, we want to divide by negative 3 to both sides and get x by itself. Well, she was saying that a lot of these students want to add 3 to both sides because they see that negative there. They see negative 3x and they want to add 3. So that's what I did. I posed those questions. I said, well, why don't we want to add 3 here? And everybody would raise their hands and say, oh, well, because it's being multiplied. And I was like, yeah, good. And so I made sure to stress all those things. Um, so I did what she asked, basically. The constructive criticism that she gave me the first time around, I did change and I did better on. Um, so that was good. A couple of things that didn't go well that I hoped or that I had wished maybe went a little better was that these are freshmen that I'm teaching, so they're pretty rowdy, and they literally want to be poking each other in the back of the head and throwing things around the room the whole time. Um, they always get up and ask to go to the bathroom. I swear, I've never seen kids get up so much to go to the bathroom. But anyways, what was kind of shaky for me was I had the command of the classroom, at least the attention of the students, for the good first 10 minutes, maybe even 15 of my lecture. But then I would kind of start to lose them, and some of the back tables would start talking, then another table would start talking, and then before you know it, you've lost half the class. So I was pretty quick to jump on this. One of the things I did that worked really well, I stopped the students in their tracks and it got like really quiet. And what I did was I said really loudly, I stopped and I stood there and I said, let's see, what exactly did I say? I said, could you guys please stop talking? You're being extremely rude to me right now. And they all were kind of like, "Oh, he actually said something," and they were like scared and they stopped. And I mean, I said it in that way. I don't think that that was mean, and I think it was stern enough to catch their attention, but it was straightforward enough to they knew that I was kind of upset. Um, by no means were they completely disrespectful. Like I said, for the first 15 minutes, they were really nice. Everybody was answering my questions. Everybody was volunteering. Um, and I'm even getting better at names, so I was able to call people out by name. So I felt really good about it. And so that's that. A couple things I was frustrated about just in general was my cooperating teacher's attitude towards me still in the classroom. So I said in the beginning that it's getting better, and it is definitely. I think if you would watch Brad's journal, he's kind of experiencing similar scenarios that I am. But I still get the feeling sometimes that she literally just doesn't want me there sometimes, and it almost feels like you're a burden. So I'm still struggling with that a little bit. So today, the after the first lesson that I did, I had to pry for some information from her. She wasn't going to say anything. I taught, and then I sat back down, and I class ended, and she like wasn't going to say anything. And I was like, "So what'd you think? What did I do well? What did I not do well? What do I need to work on?" And then she finally gave me some feedback on that. And so I was just kind of a little frustrated because the way I picture it going is, it's almost like you develop a teamwork or like a partnership, right? Where you're like feeding off each other and you're like, "Oh man, you did so good, but you need to work on this." And I would say, "Okay, that's great. I'll try that next." But there's none of that. She just kind of, I don't know. It's almost like I'm just another student in there and I'm a burden. So I still get that feeling. Um, she wasn't letting me pass stuff out today for some reason until I actually like had to pry a little bit to say, "Hey, let me help. I'm here. Let me do something." So I was passing stuff out. What was the other thing she didn't do? Ah, coming up blank. But like I said, she's just not really giving me the feedback that I want. I really want this to be a meaningful experience for me, and I want to be, helpful to her. But she's not really making that happen. And I'm really trying my best to be open and, let her know like what do I need to do to make this easy. What can I do to help you, kind of stuff. So, um, but yeah. So overall, I was stoked about my lesson. Oh, and another thing. So after the two lessons that I did, it was lunchtime, and I was going to do my self reflection immediately after doing it. So I went in and where they were all eating lunch, and I did my self reflection real quick. I filled that out, and then she was chatting with her colleagues, and she told them that I did the teaching. She was like, "Oh yeah, Jesse taught solving equations today. It went pretty well." And I was like, "Oh, well, thanks." She won't say that to me, but she'll say that to her friends. I don't know. So that's strange. But then one of her colleagues said, "Oh, yeah, I could hear you across the hall. You were doing great." And I was like, "All right." So that means my voice and my volume and my tone was all good because the lady across the hall could hear me and she thought I was doing a good job. So that was really cool. I thought that that was great. I was a little shocked. It was one of those things where you're like, "Oh, man, I didn't know that there would be other people able to hear me." So it's kind of like, almost embarrassing, but at the same time it was a compliment, so it wasn't bad. So that was cool. That was really cool. And then sitting in there watching them have lunch, they all eat lunch together. That's really cool. They're just normal people. They talk about their weekend. They talk about drinking. They talk about having fun. Um, so that's really cool. I kind of get to see what they're really like. Uh, so yeah, that went really cool. So overall, it's going better, but there's still some iffy parts that I kind of wish were a little better. I'm gonna work to make that happen for me, because she's just doing her job, and I don't blame her for being the way she is. She's just a little uptight. She doesn't want me there sometimes, but at the same point, I do make it easy on her, and I do offer to do things, and she kind of reciprocates that. So yeah, that's my journal number 3. I hope it's not too dry. Lesson went well. Things are going better. I've got a couple things I want to work on. Got some good compliments that I wasn't ready for, which was cool. And so, yeah, things are looking good. I hope you guys are doing the same. Good luck with your lessons. Good luck with the students. I'm dealing with freshmen. Some of you are, some of you aren't, but freshmen are tough a little bit. You got to say just the right things to keep their attention. Otherwise, they're gone in just a second. They're done. So good luck with that. Maybe my next strategy, I'll see if I can think of anything to kind of help rein them in, so to speak. Maybe some phrases that really work and some that really don't. And yeah, So good luck, guys. I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next week.